Hello and welcome to our first Project Pan update of 2026. Because January and February were mostly spent hibernating and not putting makeup on, we're going to be combining the Project Pan update and the Pan Those Eyeshadows into one video because there isn't a whole lot of progress to show you. Saying that, I'm hopeful that now the weather is much nicer, we're seeing some sunshine, and I'm waking up earlier and with just a little bit more energy, it should be easier to make some progress on makeup products. The first product I've been working on is the Klein Eternity Moment Perfume, and I've used this 16 times in January and February together. I've very much had a love-hate relationship with this perfume. I've had a couple of times where it's just smelled off to me. And I know that at least one of those times was because my complex chronic migraine was significantly exacerbated. I've taken on a voluntary role that involves working with children and I've had to do some training for that. I tried to do the online training but had difficulty with my visual processing disorder in that the written information that I was supposed to be reading and then the questions that I was supposed to be answering were white text on a coloured background or black text on a coloured background. That interferes with how my precision tinted glasses work in terms of helping my visual processing disorder and also my dyslexia. And I tried to push through it, which was really silly of me, and as a result I ended up with horrendous exacerbation of my constant migraine. And that was a week and a half ago, and I'm still finding that I'm having to be very careful with how much screen time I do, because if I do too much it's starting to exacerbate it again where it wouldn't normally. And halfway through February I received the Armani Power of You perfume as a PR product, and I've been absolutely loving this. This smells like summer in a bottle. The passion fruit notes remind me of Solero ice creams when I was a teenager, and it has really helped lift my mood in the darker days. And this has really got me thinking about how to balance Project Pan items with new items or otherwise loved items that I own. I've decided that moving forward I'm going to be using the Calvin Klein Eternity Moment perfume on weekdays and then the Power of You perfume or another perfume that I love on weekends. Saying that, March is Elise's birthday month, so I can see myself using the Lancôme La Vie Belle perfume more than anything else. This perfume reminds me of Elise as a newborn, and it reminds me that I'm doing a good job and all of that kind of things, which I'm not going to get into, but there has been past trauma after Elise was a newborn, and this perfume has really helped with that. And I also love wearing it and kind of collecting more memories to feel like I'm doing a decent job as a mum. Moving swiftly on so I don't start crying or having flashbacks, the number 7 Total Renewal Microderm Abrasion Exfoliator. Now, when I recorded this, I realised and obviously said out loud that I haven't used this since before Elise was born, and Elise is turning 8 this month. And when I said that in my original video, my brain went, that's a bit gross. Should we actually be using this? I am really glad that I left this exfoliator in because I haven't used it, but I have realised why I stopped using it in the first place. My allergic reactions had a kind of flare up. I've been diagnosed with chronic urticaria. That was several years ago now, and there is a question over mast cell activation disorder, and having this exfoliator in my Project Pan and actively thinking about using it even though I didn't has helped me realise that the reason I stopped using it was that my skin has just got eczema on it, and there doesn't seem to be a time where my skin doesn't have eczema on in some form or another. At the moment I've got a mark just here which is not lipstick, it's a patch of eczema that has then bled, and I really haven't wanted to use an exfoliator on my eczema. I don't want to make it worse and I don't want other patches to appear. But we are not just going to throw this away, we're going to be responsible, we're going to empty out the contents and then we're going to recycle the packaging. And understanding why I haven't been using this exfoliator is making it much easier for me to go, actually I'm not being wasteful here, it's okay to get rid of this because it wouldn't be the right thing to be using it on my eczema. Because we've taken the exfoliator out of the Project Pan, we're introducing the Frieda Heat Defense Protecting Spray. I've had this for quite some time, and while I have reached for it a lot and there isn't a whole lot left, I know that if I don't put it into a Project Pan, it is just going to sit around and not get used up. And that's because I also have the Revlon Professional Unique One Hair Treatment. This is a product that I did receive as a PR product several years ago and have repurchased multiple ones since. It's advertised as an all-in-one hair treatment and does include heat protection. And rather than having multiple different things, I would much prefer to condense everything and have one product that I know and love and use rather than having multiple things that regularly something gets forgotten about. And considering that I didn't start this at the beginning of the year, I have done pretty well with it. I've used it 6 times, even though most of the time I've had my hair up, haven't straightened it, and have just been kind of trying to get through the days. I'm confident that I can finish this by the summer. Next we have the BYOMA Brightening Eye Gel. My plan was to use this in the morning and then use their eye repair cream at nights. However, I tried a new mascara and I had a reaction to a new mascara and I ended up with eczema on my eyelids, which was not pleasant. So to get on top of that and really heal that skin, I've needed to use the Barrier Repair Eye Treatment. Saying that, I did manage 2 uses at the start of the year and then 1 use because I accidentally picked this one up instead of the repair treatment because they look very, very similar. They're both in the pink packaging. The only difference is the colour of the writing. Pumped it out and then thought, no, the eczema's kind of doing okay now. Let's use what we've just pumped out rather than wasting it. And that 1 use hasn't made a difference in my eczema healing, which is great. Now that the weather is better and my eczema has cleared up, I'm going to start using this one again, aiming for once every morning, but potentially doing it on alternate days depending on how the skin on my eyes is. And it's a similar story with the Benefit Dallas lip gloss. My aim was to use this up when I'm at home as kind of a nourishing lip gloss, but unfortunately the eczema on my lips flared up and using this wasn't enough to combat it. So I've been using the Burt's Bees night treatment. I use this when my eczema is bad as a lip balm, not just at night, constantly. I used an entire one of these up in just 6 weeks at the start of the year, and then it is currently the 5th of March and already I have almost finished up a second one. Thankfully, the eczema on my lips has significantly improved, so I'm hoping that I can start using the Benefit Dallas lip gloss again very soon. Because I haven't worn makeup much, my loose MAC MSF Natural has only been used 3 times and there isn't a visible dent. What I've been doing is dipping my brush into the lid and picking up the powder product from there so that I'm not getting too much on my brush and then putting too much on my face, and then any potential eczema patches that I can't see until I put makeup on are not appearing because I'm using a much lighter layer of this. I'm primarily using this on a red patch on my nose. You probably won't be surprised to learn that these 2 blushes have not been touched, and I'll be honest, I am reconsidering whether these should be in the project, and that's because I also have the NARS Penny Lane blush. This is a lovely cream blush and there is loads in here. I know that I'm not going to be able to finish all of this in a year, and my concern is if I'm also working on other blushes, this will not get the love it deserves. I really enjoy this blush. I am wearing it today. It is a subtle blush, which is great for kind of on the school run. I don't want to look like I've got a full face on. I don't want to look very, very made up. That's just because I prefer a much more natural look, but I also don't want too much of a contrast between days I'm wearing makeup and days I'm not wearing makeup on the school run. I hope that made sense. So I would love to know how you manage your project pans in terms of products you're using and having options while also not kind of spreading yourself too thin in terms of what you're using. It could just be that January and February have got in my head and I would happily be able to work through the powder blushers and the cream blushers. I don't know yet. So I'm not taking them out, but we're going to think about it. Going back to NARS Penny Lane, this has been used twice in January and February. Can you tell that January and February were hard? As we've talked about blushes that I haven't used yet, let's look at the other 2 products that in my project pan did not get used. The first is the BareMinerals brush cleaner. I didn't really wear makeup, so I didn't really need to clean my brushes with the cleaner between applications. And then my Rimmel Obsession lip liner, because my lips were so bad, this really shows up flakes of skin. Even when on a natural no makeup lip, you wouldn't be able to see them. So I haven't even thought about using this yet. In terms of eyeshadows, 3 of the 4 in my project pan did get used a little bit. The other one did not. However, there is an update because I dropped my makeup bag and the powder came out of the pan. But it's okay, we have a plan. I have got a pot and I've put the eyeshadow inside and I'm just going to use it from here like I'm doing with the MSF Natural. For the eyeshadows I did manage to use, I use this powder eyeshadow from NARS. It's a creamy shade and I use it on my brow bone. I use this 3 times. I used Maybelline's On and On Bronze twice and I used the Rimmel Scandalized eyeshadow stick once. When it comes to eyeshadow, we're focusing on the Maybelline On and On Bronze colour tattoo. However, I had an event project and I wanted to go kind of more minimal makeup. So I put a warm light brown all over my lid and into my crease, and then just used this on the inner part of my lid. And I did that because I just felt the bronze kind of shimmery eyeshadow was not the look we were going for what I needed to do. Got to the end of my list on my computer and found that actually I did use the BareMinerals brush cleaner once. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to know how you're getting on with your project pan items, and also if you have any tips or suggestions or inspiration from how you use your project pan items with other items that you own, I would really appreciate those. Thank you for watching, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.